Hey everybody, TC here from TC's Bunch of Stuff, and I just wanted to address a conversation we had in episode 2 of Raft Mechanic. A friendly viewer pointed out that the long building issue is no longer a thing. At some point it was updated. I'm not sure when, because the monorail, which I'm actually going to show you right now, was a very long time ago. So I'm pretty sure this is the world. Okay, so this is a very old world that I played, well, I started playing. God, I don't even remember the year, but if any of you are familiar with Neebs Gaming, when they started doing their Scrap Mechanic Survival playthrough series, that's when I became interested in playing Scrap Mechanic. And this was the first world I had started making back then. So it's been hugely, hugely enhanced since then. This little platform allows me easy access to the top of the monorail. And yes, it's a underslung style monorail. My initial goal was to actually make a Disney style monorail with the monorail sitting on top. And I just didn't have the skills to make that work properly. So this was the final product. As you can see, as described in episode 2 of Raft Mechanic, I have a core of pipes, and then I surrounded it with bubble block and scrap wood. And those were two easiest materials to obtain at the time. And I learned so much from making this monorail about the scrap mechanic physics at the time. Obviously, they have changed slightly. So let's just take a ride to the other end, and we'll have a little go. So one of the things I learned is that a block isn't really a block. And it's actually composed of 3 lines, with each end of each line representing a point in the center of each of the 6 faces. And the way I figured that out is that if you try to make a monorail on a single line of blocks, the wheel will slip off on either one side or the other. And it doesn't just like fall all the way off, it slips just a little bit and kind of glitches into the block. So a block surface is not a surface. At least that's the best way I can describe it. It's merely a point and a point and a point and a point. And in order to stay on top of that, you would have to be absolute perfect dead center the whole way out. And that just doesn't happen because, you know, little bounces and things go left and right slightly. So I figured out I had to go 3 blocks wide in order to keep the wheel from, you know, cocking over and messing up the ride. So that's one of the things I learned. And the other thing I learned, which is not relevant anymore, fortunately, is at the time when you built a long structure like this, you would get weird glitches and bouncing. And that's why I gave it a core of the metal pipes, because at the time, the metal pipes did not have that issue. But the whole reason for the monorail in the first place is because I found this little island where I can farm far enough away from my base that it wouldn't trigger a raid until I came back. And the island is so tiny that the robots have a real hard time getting up to the farm. There's only like one little section that's shallow enough of an angle where the robots can climb up. So 90% of the time the robots are just stuck on the edges of the island trying to get up. Like usually in this area here, or over in this area here. So I got a little farm with automatic watering. Well, it's not fully automatic. I have to push a button, but and I use that for growing my crops. Nowadays, I just use it for growing potatoes because I have a much bigger farm back at the main base. And I found that this is so well protected the way it is that I can just leave it. I could just go away and leave it. Even if the raid comes, I can just leave it. I just hit this button, and it's all watered. It was a lot of resource gathering to get all those water splashers there. I mean, I could have done, a mechanical motion thing, but I went the hard way in this one. So that's the story of the monorail and the glitches that I found when making it. As you can see now, it's not out of the visual range, mostly because my computer's so much better now. But at the time, it was beyond the visual range. And you'll see a little light in the water over there. I was actually marking the locations of the underwater caves with the treasure. And I think there's either 2 or 3 in this big lagoon. I think only this one has a light on it. Maybe not. But yeah, I just, just draw a stick up out of wood. And then paint it so I can find them easy. And of course, unlike Raft Mechanic, there's no danger underwater in vanilla survival, other than drowning. So by having it marked like that, I can quickly get back to it and collect more stuff. You do have to be kind of quick about it, though, because in vanilla, this distance is close to the limit you can go without drowning coming back up. So don't ever pick up a glow bug on your way back up, because they slow you down a lot. So yeah, don't pick up glow bugs when you're that deep. There's a few other things I'll show you while we're here. I probably should have used an electric engine on this, but gas is a little easier to get than batteries. So I don't know if you're familiar with this block down here, and at first glance you would probably say that this block is the rusted metal block. Close, but no. This block is in fact a special block that you can only get by going into unlimited mode. And it's the foundation block. Whoa, we get some lag there. What the hell are we getting lag from? So this is something you can do in any world. This spacing, the robots cannot pass through. So you can make yourself a little doorway as long as you go 3 blocks wide, and you don't have to worry about the robots getting in. Okay, I don't know what that lag is, but it is really bad. Well, here is my Ferris wheel, because, you know, every survival world needs a Ferris wheel. Alright, so like I was saying before about these blocks, these are foundation blocks. And in order to use them, there's 2 things you need to do. Now, a lot of you longtime players of Scrap Mechanic may already know this, which is fine. But for those who don't, the first thing you want to do is open up a couple spots in your hotbar. So grab this out of there, this out of there. That's good enough. Okay, so you need to go into unlimited mode. So to do that, you hit your text box key, whatever you get that set to, and you go /unlimited, and you'll see now your hotbar is like it is in creative mode. But there's also one more thing you need to do, because if you notice, oh my gosh, the lag is horrendous. I'm going to shut this off. Maybe that'll help a little bit. Where's the switch? There it is. Okay, I don't know what's causing this massive lag. It could be the vehicles. I should weld those. Matter of fact, give me 1 second, I'll go do that. Okay, yeah, I think it's definitely the vehicles. This thing is sitting at a wacky angle. Alright, so the other thing you need to do on top of unlimited is you also need to do decrypt. Now you need to be careful with the decrypt command, because that allows you to delete stuff that you normally would not be able to delete. Okay, that was definitely the cause of the lag, this vehicle. Okay, yeah, so what I was talking about with these blocks here, the foundation blocks are completely invincible. There's nothing that can damage them. You can have a red bot sit there for days on end and he will do no damage. But you can't build with these blocks unless you're in decrypt mode, because these are, for lack of a better word, developer blocks. They're used to create structures behind the structures, like in the warehouse. If you start digging at the walls with explosives in the warehouse, you will eventually come upon a wall of these blocks. They're made to stop you from being able to continue any further. So what I've done is created a farm defended with these blocks. And yes, that is cheating. I don't care. This is my world, and I wanted to play the way I wanted to play. If you want to play strict in your world, then do so. I do not judge you, and if you judge me, I'm sorry. But I wanted to just try different things. I wanted to build the way I wanted to build, and I didn't want to have to worry about robots destroying everything while I'm doing what I'm doing. Now, there are times when I go through playthroughs perfectly strict, like in Raft Mechanic. I am doing a perfectly strict run on that. I am not spawning in anything. I am not gathering resources by using unlimited mode. But this is my own personal world, and I wanted to have fun in it. So you can build with those blocks, like I was saying, right here. Framework block, that's what it's called. So when in decrypt mode, you can place them down and you can pick them up. Now, to get rid of decrypt mode, you have to go encrypt. And then you can no longer place the blocks, you can no longer pick them up. They are, for all intents and purposes, permanent until you go back into decrypt mode. Sorry. You'll notice I can place the blocks down in certain locations, but keep in mind, if you do, you have to go into decrypt mode in order to pick them back up again. So they're a little weird in that you can't place blocks on themselves, but you can place blocks on other things, and they become permanent. Kind of scared me at first because I didn't know about the encrypt-decrypt codes. So I started building with these impervious blocks, and I was like, uh-oh, I can't pick them up again. What am I going to do? You know, if I made one mistake, it was like, uh-oh. But then I learned about the encrypt and decrypt, and, you know, it's all good. So this is one of my other fun objects I made. It's kind of like a trebuchet slash catapult. I was trying to see if I could do a weight only design where the weight would literally power the trebuchet, but what happens is if you use just the weight, it's way too slow. For some reason, like, gravity is not 32 feet per second squared in this game. Or whatever, I don't know. But yeah, it was way too slow. So what I did is I just I used the controller to give it extra oomph, and it works okay. You know, let me get out of unlimited mode here. Oh, I need to get rid of this too. I don't need that. Okay, so that. And to get out of unlimited, you just go limited. And everything is back to normal. So yeah, to launch the trebuchet, first you need to swing it back. It's a little violent. And you can place whatever you want in there. You can place a toilet and sit on it, or you can place an explosive. Uh, it's funny. You know what? Let me. I'm pretty sure I have some explosives over here. Might as well use what I got. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, let's use a small one for now. And I got some blocks, so I can set it down. I'm sure it's not the best design ever, you know. I'm not that good, but it does work. And of course, then you just delete the block and whee! Yeah, not bad. I actually destroyed the top of this tree right here with that. Okay. And, you know, while we're in survival here, I want to show you a little trick I had learned a while back. If I can find a saw blade, I might have to make one. So many boxes. There we go. There's a saw blade. Alright, so a little trick for cutting down the big trees. Now, of course, you can build a vehicle with an engine and, you know, do all kinds of fancy equipment for cutting down the big trees. And that's all well and good. But what if you're just starting out and you want to cut down a big tree? Well, this is the most minimalist way I figured out for doing such. Oh, really? Why are you going that way? Okay, so, you know, these big trees, you can pound on them all you want. They don't go nowhere. And it even comes up with a message that says, this tree is too big for the sledgehammer. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, so what you can do, and all you need is a handful of blocks, 2 bearings, and a saw blade. Now, the saw blade is a little resource intensive in the beginning, but once you make one, you don't really need anything else. So what you want to do is you want to position a block approximately in this zone, you know, kind of like diagonal from the tree. And then you stick 1 bearing, and then you can stretch a line, something like that. It doesn't have to be super precise. Another bearing. Oops, let me back up. And then the saw. And all you have to do is pound away at the saw. And there you go. And you can move things in front of it, or you can move it itself. Yeah, but it's still too big, so you have to keep using the saw to chop it up. But once it's been cracked open once, you can go with the hammer. In Raft Mechanic, you can actually break down this portion without the saw blade. Because the axe that you make does a little bit more damage than the vanilla hammer. It's probably only like 1 more damage, but so that's a little trick you can do if you need a lot of good wood. And you want to get rid of some of these big trees. There it goes. No? Love scrap mechanic physics. Oh, that's alright. Ow. So there you go. A tree farming saw that you can stick in your pocket. So as the sun sets over the Scrap Mechanic Valley, I bid you adieu. Thank you for watching. If you subscribe, that would be so amazing. And a like is always welcome. Good night and pleasant dreams.